Masters of the Universe, Battle for Eternia. We're looking at the different character reviews. And of course, tactics aside, we all have our favorite characters. We're all engaging with the narrative and the various media. There's certain characters, certain play styles that we are going to gravitate towards. Separate to that, naturally, depending on the mission that you play, certain characters and certain builds, especially if it's open play from that skirmish perspective, is important. If I'm looking to grab objectives as fast as I can, then having slower characters or really heavy damage dealing characters over speed, that's going to be a challenge. I want to play fast-moving characters. I want to play Stratos and boost him. I want to play Orko and teleport. Likewise, if it's a mission where I'm more defending an objective or escorting, I want some anchor points. I want to plant a character next to that objective and say, come and take it. I might take Ram Man, or I might take He-Man and just plant them there. So we all have our favorite characters, and then we have characters that are really suited to the mission. I want to explore Teela because in many ways, I consider Teela an auto-include based on the fact that this is a resource skirmish miniature game. So within that framework for a second, one of the things that I really like about Masters of the Universe is that when you lose a hero or something is taken out, it's not out of the game. Now, of course, that builds into the theme, but you get knocked out. You get to respawn. If you lose minions, you get to potentially reserves. But there's a cost for that, whether it's spending power cubes or if you take a loss, you have to respawn somewhere elsewhere on the board away from the objectives that you were perhaps moving towards. But at the same time, depending on the mission, it might penalize you for the mission. So you're not out of the game as a player or as the controller, but there's a resource cost for it. So the models need to be balanced out. Well, within that understanding, as a skirmish game, anytime I can add more models to my warband, that is extremely powerful. Teela commanding the Royal Guard, the elite Royal Guards, and being able to spawn two of those in the base game, that's really interesting from two perspectives. The first, of course, if we're looking at a mission where I need to anchor, I need to escort someone, I need to hold an objective, to essentially spawn two free characters, camp them with Teela, that's big. I mean, that's 3-1. 3-1. If it's a game where I'm going to grab an objective, although she's not necessarily fast compared to some of the other characters, I mean, of course, you have your base actions and your base movement, but then other characters can pay energy to advance more or fly over things or move quicker. But again, this 3-1, where if Teela's going to grab an objective somewhere and then spawning two of the Royal Guards, that's big. So just on that level, I consider her almost an auto-include for the missions. Now things get interesting in that, yes, there is a balance in that when I spawn the two guards, now I'm paying resources every turn to be able to move them and activate them. So essentially, she's reduced down to one activation a turn. But defensively, she also becomes more powerful because they act as this bodyguard. You want to keep them close to her so the attacks that would be targeted on Teela will go on the Royal Guards. You'll spawn more. So it's almost in some ways, I won't say doubling her life, but the resources that it will take now, you have to chew through both of those guards first. And then those attacks will go on Teela. That is so useful for so many missions. Again, the ability to just spawn free stuff, free models in any skirmish game is big. But in this type of scale skirmish game, I consider her absolutely an auto-include if you're playing the Forces of Eternia.